Wow, that was almost a religious experience now, wasn't it? Well, we talked about pot in movies, pot in midnight movies, and things like that. Of course, it goes without say that, when 300 moviegoers went to the Elgin Theater to see Reefer Madness, it ain't like anybody was going to tell them to put it out. Well, there were other movies that basically used pot as a plot, so to speak. But I digress. What do you think would be the first non-exploitation movie, but a mainstream movie, to feature someone smoking pot? Answer might confuse you, but it was the 1964 For a Few Dollars More spaghetti western. Now, if you're familiar with that film, you'll notice that El Indio, played by Jean-Marie Valente, would go into these sweaty little convulsions and stuff and just keep going like this to his second in command, Mario Brega, who would hand him a rolled joint and then he'd calm down. And still, that was they could still consider marijuana a huge narcotic back then, Class C narcotic or whatever the fuck it was. But, aside from the midnight shows, there was an act that came to fruition in the late 60s, early 70s, Cheech and Chong. And of course, their act was pretty much weed-based. So it became no surprise when they made a feature film called Up in Smoke. And that feature film was distributed, I believe, by Paramount or financed by Paramount. So it wound up in multiplex theaters all around the country. And at that point in time, you could still smoke cigarettes in a movie theater. Of course, it was a dirty and disgusting habit, as we all know, and all the butts wound up on the floor, but be that as it may, that's what it is. So now I'm going to go see Up in Smoke. And I figured, well, you're not going to be able to do a fucking thing in the movie theater. So, of course, we took my van and we all got toasty in my van and then walked in. And much to my chagrin, most of the people in the theater were smoking weed, and the ushers were running around telling them to put it out, and they'd make like they're putting it out, and the guy would run to tell somebody else to put it out, and they'd keep it going. You couldn't control it, and they weren't about to try it. But, the film was funny as fuck. I mean, it had Strother Martin as Tommy Chong's father. Tommy Chong takes off in a Volkswagen. It basically breaks down, and he's picked up by Cheech Marin in his lowrider car, and then they smoke all this weed. And the weird thing was, I can relate to some of this shit because I've done it, with the car driving down the highway with the smoke fucking billowing out the windows and shit, and then them winding up on the median am I driving okay, man? And the whole thing with scoring shitty weed and doing this and doing that, and then having the cops after you. Then the best thing was they were all looking for the weed, but when they went down to Mexico to make a deal to bring something, bring a vehicle back, the entire vehicle was made of weed. And of course, Stacy Keach was funny as hell as playing Sergeant Stendenko, and they're staking out the whole thing, and basically the fumes from the exhaust are setting the back of the vehicle on fire, and they get pulled over by a motorcycle cop, and the cop walks up and he takes off his helmet. He goes, "What do you guys want?" And they're eating a hot dog, and he goes, "Mind if I have a bite of your hot dog?" And they drive away perplexed because they really don't know that the whole thing is going on. And then when they're playing this concert thing, all the shit, smoke from the truck, which has already gotten Stacy Keach and his steak out. These guys stoned, and they're eating fucking pizza like slobs and shit. So, all the smoke gets sucked into the amphitheater, and now everybody's fucked up. So, funny fucking movie, great stoner movie. And of course, they had to have a sequel. And I guess Universal got the sequel, Cheech and Chong's next movie. How fucking brilliant title. But anyway, it was more of the same, except that Cheech plays a dual role because he's trying to get rid of Chong because he's got a hot date. And he goes, my cousin's in town, Red, go see Red. Well, Red's Cheech with long red hair. And what neither of the two know is Red's a grower. He's got this satchel full of fucking buds and shit. And they go all over the place, a massage parlor. I mean, some really crazy shit. And then at the end, they're in this field. They go to Red's growing this stuff, and all of a sudden, all these fireworks and shit's going off. And he goes, yeah, the cops may be coming, but that's I do that to scare the deer off. And all of a sudden, like, there's big fucking lights over the thing, and the spacecraft goes down. So now you segue to the real Cheech, who fucked up and was passed out and missed his date, and Chong's standing over him with this thing, and he goes, "What are you doing?" "I got this space coke." And they snort it, and they blast through the fucking roof of the house, hanging on to each other, and that's the end of that movie. Well, of course, you know, three's the charm. So the other one they did was Nice Dreams, which also featured Pee Wee Herman was in the other one. I forgot about that. He was some crazy desk clerk that, you know, they screwed over. Well, in this one, I think he's a waiter or something or whatever. There's a bunch of shit going on. Timothy Leary's in it. They're driving an ice cream truck that they're basically selling weed out of. Stacy Keach is back as Sergeant Stendenko, and the weed that they're fucking with will basically turn you into a lizard. And Stacy Keach is fucking hysterical because he's turned into this huge iguana, and like you see this fly go by him and tongue flies out and snags it and shit. At the end, they sort of load him in a car, and you just see, like, you know, the upper body of Stacy hanging over the front seat, green with the tongue, and then this huge back of an iguana hanging out the back of the truck. So, and then, like I said, you know, they get thrown into, I think just Cheech got thrown into the nut house, and he's chained with his hands behind his back, and he's screaming, "All I want someone to do is to scratch my balls." And then Timothy Leary comes in and gives him benediction or something. There's a lot of strange shit going on, and a lot of, you know, comedians that show up in like little bit roles that you will recognize that, you know, became famous. The guy who was in, fuck, I can't remember his name. The guy who was in Police Academy that did all the mimic noises and shit like that, he was in it. A few other people, but yeah, third time was the charm. They came up with another one called Still Smokin', which was basically their routines, a compilation of their routines. I'm not sure if that even went theatrical. The Corsican Brothers did go theatrical, and that kind of sucked. And then there was another one, Things Are Tough All Over, where I think they did play another dual role. They were Arabs or something, Arabian sheiks. But, you know, it sort of ran its course because we were going with, you know, the shit and piss jokes toward the end or something like that, or hairpiece. My hairpiece, there's something wrong with my hairpiece, you know, shit like that. Just lame ass shit. And then, of course, we all know that the duo broke up, and Cheech wound up doing a few movies and wound up with Don Johnson on, what the fuck was that show? Oh shit, I can't remember the name of the show now. It was Don Johnson's character. Yeah, well, you know, the weed's fucking working. What can I tell you? What was the name of that show? It was out in California somewhere. Well, anyway, he was a long time guy on that show, and Tommy was still doing the comedy route, and I saw him at Rascals in West Orange 2 weeks before they busted him for that whole set-up bong thing. So, and I was actually pulled out of the crowd because they wanted an old hippie to do something. So, you know, there I am sitting in the front row, so I'm an old hippie. So yeah, it was cool. I got his autograph, shook his hand, then he gets arrested. So after he got out, they reunited and did a tour, and unfortunately I couldn't get tickets for the whole thing, and then to stand in a line around the block at Radio City Music Hall when I got to piss every fucking 30 minutes ain't gonna fucking work. So I bought, you know, did a DVD of it, and you know something? The old routines were still funny to me. They still had that charm. So yeah, it was good stuff. So, you know, if you're looking for, you know, three good, you know, weed type old school stoner movies, you know, you can't go wrong with the original three Cheech and Chong movies. And, you know, like I said, there's a little history lesson with the first appearance of marijuana in a mainstream film. So, hey, you know what the fuck, I'm on a roll now. May as well keep going. I'll change costumes. How's that sound? I'll flip this down, because I was striving to be something, I don't know, religious. But anyway, we'll flip this on and talk about a film from 1980. You know, when Jaws came out, Jaws made a shitload of money. You know, written by Peter Benchley, and followed up with The Deep, that made a shitload of money. So when his other novel turned into film that he wrote the screenplay for and sold for $2.13 million to Zanuck and Brown, came out, everyone was excited. They thought it was going to be a big, you know, big fucking adventure movie. Well, all depends on your sense of adventure, because right before the opening credits, couple people on a yacht get boarded by somebody, and somebody's head gets split open with a fucking axe. So that's how it opens. So that wasn't the old, okay, what the fuck. And Michael Caine and David Warner are the stars, the two named stars. Michael Caine is a reporter. Now, all of a sudden, these small crafts are going missing in this certain area around Bermuda, hinting about the Bermuda Triangle, of course. So he really wants to go down and cover the story, but the problem is he's stuck with his 12-year-old son, Justin, because Mommy booked out on him. And Justin isn't too fucking happy to be going with him, but Dad promises a fucking trip to Disneyland because we're going to Florida, but they don't stay in Florida, and the kid knows he got fucked because now he has to figure out a way to get down to a certain island, and nobody legally goes down to that certain island. But in the meantime, our crusty crew of miscreants hit another fucking ship, cut this mother's throat while she's sleeping, gut somebody else, but there's a young girl aboard, which they take with them and sort of teach her their ways, which are brutal. So, anyway, our twosome father and son find this crusty pilot that's doing a bunch of illegal shit. Old character actor Brad Sullivan, who unfortunately is no longer with us. You would recognize him from Slapshot and Dead Bang. He has this crappy fucking plane that he's going to fly a bunch of illegal shit down, but, he actually puts the kid in the co-pilot seat because so he can get an okay to take off, and he says, usually I use the pig I carry around. He has this huge pig. He puts the pig in the pilot seat. Okay. Yeah, see where we're going? Anyway, they're going to land, and all of a sudden, the fucking wheels don't come down. So they basically escape from being incinerated by a couple minutes. The chief of police on this island isn't too fucking happy with them and decides to arrest the pilot until he gets his insurance money. So somehow they had smuggled the gun in. And the pilot had known about it, was going to rat the kid out, but the chief of police figured that, okay, they're just tourists, they don't know nothing. So find a village, and they come across this old doctor. And the doctor seems to be weird about a couple things until all of a sudden he perks up when he finds out that Brad has a son. Edit, sorry about that. Anyway, this doctor becomes interested because of Brad having a son. So he says, why don't you guys go fishing for barracuda? I'll lend you my boat. All right, so they're out fishing for barracuda. They actually get one when they see this girl in a life preserver waving for help and a boat overturned. Well, it's the girl that the pirates grabbed. So, of course, Justin wants to be the hero, jumps over, try to save her, and she's going to drown them. Out from under the overturned boat comes some scumbag who advances on Brad with a knife, and Brad shoots him. But when the pirate falls backwards, Brad falls backwards also and knocks himself out. He comes to, he's in a fucking dirty, disgusting village with a bunch of fucking guys dressed up like old school pirates, missing half their fucking teeth, all scuzzy. They actually reminded me of the clientele at the Terminal Bar across the street from Port Authority on 8th Avenue. I could even smell the stench of the bastards. But anyway, they got Brad on trial for murder, and it seems that the guy he shot was married to this woman, Beth, who shows up with mud all over her face. Her name is Angela Punch McGregor, the actress from Australia. And she spits in Brad's face, and there's a whole discussion here because they want to kill Brad. And the leader now, David Warner, has designs on Brad's son because he wants his own son. So his whole thing is he's going to give the son to one of his minions to basically torture and twist around into being a fucking pirate. And the end result is he wants Justin, who he's going to name Tubarb, to kill his father. And that will signify him, accepting now as his own father, whatever twisted fucking logic that is. But anyway, now they have a decision to make because it's either execute Brad or let him marry Beth, because if Beth doesn't get married to somebody, all of a sudden she's a whore and anybody can have her. And then somebody quirks up that being that he's from the outside, he'll make good babies. Well, it seems that, 300 fucking years of inbreeding, you're not really dealing with a bunch of fucking rocket scientists here. So anyway, she goes for it. There's a cheesy scene where basically she lubes him up and slides it in. So yeah, off camera, of course. You don't see it. It's a fucking R-rated movie anyway. So anyway, he's trying to figure out how to get the fuck out of there. And there's a couple other things where he tries to escape at night and swims into a fucking school of jellyfish, which is pretty fucked up. And she covers for him for whatever reason, and then she gets lashed by the jellyfish. These guys are fucked up. They're just idiots. So now that they got this whole thing rigged up, they decide to take Barb, who's now, been turned, and they're going to attack this fucking big schooner full of drug dealers. Well, the whole thing is, these people see these guys coming toward them and aren't buying the fact of what they are until they start shooting and killing them. So basically, they take over the schooner, they strip the schooner, anybody that they don't kill, they execute or make them walk the plank or whatever, and then Barbs gets to kill somebody in full view of his father. So that's pretty messed up. Now, the other thing is that the good doctor who introduced them has been in cahoots with them for years. Basically, he discovered them and thought what they were doing should be kept going. So he was tipping them off to certain things that they could fucking attack. And that's why he had sent out Brad and Justin, because he knew that now wanted a white son. He already had a Portuguese kid that he was training, but blew him off. So, okay. Now we're getting thicker on this because there's a Navy vessel that's docked, and there's a launch that's set out, and they're netting up the bags of spilled cocaine. So the doctor and Noah see this going on, and the doctor's going, "You want me to walk down and pretend I'm like, the wacky beachcomber and just asking what they're doing?" And Noah blows it off, because what he does is he lets the party land. He sets up the little girl in a clearing, and of course the sailors, seeing her smiling and waving them in, come in and are attacked by the pirates, and throats are cut, people are stabbed. It's pretty fucking nasty. The last guy who was guarding the launch, they take prisoner as they're all wearing the bloody sailor uniforms, get him to bring them back. And again, they're not, the sailors aren't taking this fucking shit seriously, and they're boarded and they're wiped out to a man. Well, Brad, in the meantime, decided to blow up their fucking ammo supply thing with a bunch of powder, but he's attacked by the doctor, and the doctor is shot by Beth with a crossbow, who just turns around and walks away. Anyway, Brad has swum out to the ship and has seen what has happened, and he climbs aboard, figuring, what the hell can I do? He wants to get his kid back, and he's hiding behind something covered with a tarp, and that something is a .50 caliber machine gun. So now the pirates are looting the ship, and they're piling everything on the foredeck, I guess, or whatever. So he waits until they're all out of clear view, and then he basically chops them to bloody ribbons with the .50 caliber machine gun. It's fucking brutal. But anyway, now and Barb were under the thing and missed the whole thing. So he's trying to get Barb to shoot his father, and, all of a sudden humanity comes out and the kid can't fucking do it, but the Portuguese kid still lived through it. He goes, "I'll do it," and then Justin shoots him through the fucking head. And then Now is shot by a flare gun, and it's a happy fucking ending. This thing cost some phenomenal amount of fucking money to make. Something like, I think, 26 point something million dollars. And of course, it fucking crashed and burned on its first release. The critics tore it up. I mean, it isn't like, it isn't like a rollicking fucking adventure. It's more of like almost a horror theme type of thing, with these people living in the past as, basically bloodthirsty fucking pirates. So, I've forgotten about this thing, and then, it was on a sale with a Blu-ray, so of course, we're all bluing it out lately, so I figured, let me give it a second look, because it's under $10, and I know I can get my money back on eBay. So, on a second look, it ain't too bad. It's okay. It's an okay film. It's pretty much, I would consider it a Grindhouse film, because I don't see where the fuck you got 26 point whatever million dollars up there on the screen. It's like you're in the Bahamas or wherever you were filming this damn thing. I just don't understand it, but what do I know? They never backed any adaptations of Benchley's work again, Zanuck and Brown. Michael Caine, Sir Michael Caine, I might add, to this day refuses to discuss the film. David Warner only took the role because he wanted to work with Michael Caine. So it's like anything else, like any other weird bad movie, it has developed a cult following over the years. But hey, for shits and giggles, it's 109 minutes worth of whatever. So it's worth checking out. Not a bad film. All right, we're gonna do another switch here. Switch of motifs. You're on a roll, you keep fucking going, right? Anyway, this is another episode of Grindhouse Purgatory being shot on December 7th, and it's been freezing cold outside. And if you're up on Facebook, and you probably know that I've been dealing with a little fucking medical situation here, trying to keep my hand on it, but as you get older, I guess shit fucking happens, and like any other guy, I'm indestructible. At least I thought I was, and I try to take care of myself, but shit happens. So that's that. So if I'm off sometimes, I got that weighing on my mind, and it ain't fucking good. Another film I watched, of course, this would have never made it up. Some people ask you, it isn't like I've seen everything in the theaters, because I haven't. But, I remember certain things passing by, and this film that was put out by Something Weird Video called Satan's Children is one of them things where I'm thinking, was all over the place in the 70s. I have no recollection of this ever, being shown anywhere around, my area, 42nd Street or any of the drive-ins. Had to run somewhere. It's, really a fucking weird-ass movie, and the guy only made, the director, Joe, and I can't pronounce his last name, Wojciech or something like that, only made one other film prior to that in 72 called Willie Gone. Could have been like a minor blaxploitation type thing. Don't know that much about that, but this other one, it's just very strange because it's at a coven. Starts out with this chick, Janice, and her stepbrother Bobby, who is mowing the lawn, and Dad, who has no name. And Janice is lubed up with some Florida suntan oil, which looks like a quart of 10W40 motor oil. And she's putting the cum on Bobby. And Bobby's mowing the lawn, and Bobby's father tells him he did a shitty job and he can't go out tonight. So they're sitting there having dinner, which looks really strained. And if I don't know who married who, but you never see a mom around there. It's like, okay, she's his stepsister, but where's the mother? What, did he just knock off, Dad just knock off two moms? I don't know. But anyway, now they're eating dinner and things are a little bit fucking strained, and of course Janice rats out Bobby for having a bag of brown tobacco in his room. Yeah, weed. Okay, so shit gets stupid and Bobby leaves. For whatever reason, and it's not explained, I guess you got to figure some shit out for yourself, Bobby goes to a gay bar, and an older guy hits on him. Then this rough-looking guy comes in and chases the older guy away and wants to take Bobby somewhere to have some fun. You're not aware of this shit going on, but you know there's something creepy going on until they go over this guy's apartment to do something, and this guy comes out wearing a bathrobe and carrying a knife, and then next thing you know, Bobby's down to his tighty-whities, and his hands are duct taped behind his back, and he's got a piece of duct tape over his mouth, and this guy's on the phone calling three of his buddies. Well, it was a rollickingly bad shot homosexual rape in the back of a truck. Now we segue to a bunch of Satanists having a picnic, or for lack of better words, and somebody notices that Bobby's battered carcass has been tossed in the weeds near where they're having the picnic. So the leader of this coven, temporarily, is Sherry. And Sherry goes over and immediately falls in love with Bobby. That's how shit happens in exploitation films. She takes Bobby back to the place at the protests of other coven members, Joshua and these two other girls. All right, well, she puts him in bed, but now there's some other thing going on that this other girl is sort of hitting on Sherry. And Sherry's a little pissed off about it, so Sherry decides that she's going to get sacrificed that night. So the leader of this coven, Simon, is nowhere to be found. So again, Joshua is taking umbrage about, Bobby being in there and then this other girl getting hung up and, it's going to be a sacrifice, yada yada. So there's shit going on, and all of a sudden they're getting ready for this black mass, and Joshua and the two chicks are praying to Lucifer to bring Simon back. Well, they're a little bit too late because Sherry and the others burst in, dragged them out, and hanged them out in the courtyard. And I don't mean like, the chamber drop, break a neck. I mean hanging and like choking to death. The scene's shot dark, and it's pretty effectively gruesome that way. Then, all of a sudden, Simon comes back. Simon is a slick-haired guy with a mustache, smoking a black cheroot. He walks by the swinging bodies and pats Joshua on the head and goes in and sees that he's very stealthy. Nobody hears him. Sees Sherry in bed with Bobby and sees the other chick strung up. He cuts her down. And then somebody goes into the room the next morning and says that Simon wants to see Sherry and whatever for breakfast. Sherry comes down and explains this whole contrived thing about, the world making the pass at her. That's why she had to be sacrificed. And how she found Bobby and how her authority was challenged by Joshua, blah, 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 blah. And how she fell in love with Bobby. And Simon looks at her and he goes, well, you better hope that he loves you, because now he has her buried out back in the sand up to her neck, and they're pouring Karo syrup around in a circle and on her head and dumping fire ants on it. So now Simon decides to go pay Bobby a visit and basically says, you're in a lot of trouble and this is what's going to happen, and I think you're one of these guys that, you must believe in Jesus and turn the other cheek because you were just raped by 4 guys and you have put that completely out of your mind. So Bobby goes that he would sell his soul to Satan right now for, I guess, Sherry. And Simon says, Satan doesn't want your soul. Satan wants strong people. You're weak. And Bobby goes, I'm hurt. And he goes, no, you're not hurt. Hurt means you're incapacitated. He goes, you're in pain. So he smirks, and basically Simon walks out and confronts the girl who was strung up. Now he tells her about the charges that were leveled at her by Sherry. And he says, don't forget, punishment is harsh, especially from the master, so you have to be completely honest with me. And he goes, have you ever had homosexual thoughts toward other people? And she goes, no, I haven't. Well, we know that's a fucking lie, because all of a sudden blood starts pouring out her nose, out her mouth, and she hits the floor. Yep, master's pissed. So now Bobby decides to escape in his underwear, which is really creepy because he knocks 2 guys down real quick without doing too much, runs outside and books, and Simon's on the phone telling him to cut him off. They have an electrified fence. He gets over the fence before they turn on the juice, but the guy who electrifies it with his truck gets electrified. 2 other guys are after him. So this is a succession of watching Bobby run through thorn bushes, mud, dirt, crap, all kinds of other stuff. He's all scratched up, and I'm pretty much thinking that the scratches aren't makeup because he's running through fucking brambles. All right, so he gets into this place. He fucking collapses face down into this black mud puddle. And one of the guys comes up behind him and has him, but unfortunately walks beyond him into quicksand. Now he's sinking in the sand. He's calling for his buddy to get him. His buddy shows up, throws him his belt, going to pull him out. Then Bobby wakes up, pushes him into quicksand. Now he gets the truck and drives home. Walks in the house covered with fucking mud. His tighty-whities are now blacky-wackies. And he goes to the refrigerator and starts eating a sandwich. Dad and stepsister Janice are watching The Magnificent Seven, but the TV's not facing me, so how do I know that? Easily, by the gunshots. There's specific gunshots in that film, and being that I've seen that way too many fucking times, I recognize the film. Okay, so Dad comes over to confront Bobby and scream at him for leaving the refrigerator door open, so Bobby kills him. Bobby tells Janice to lay on the couch and take your clothes off or get in your bed or something like that. Then we cut away because Bobby has a shotgun. We see Bobby driving the stolen truck with Janet tied in the back, duct taped in the back seat, as he goes over to the guys who raped him house and blows each one of them away with a shotgun. Then, in silhouette or shadow, he's cutting their heads off with a fucking hacksaw and puts them in bags. Now he goes back to the coven and confronts Simon. He says, I have something you'll like. Boom. And he gives him Janice. Well, I guess that proved that he had what it takes, because he gets to dig Sherry up out of the fucking mud, muck, and they're laying in bed, and now they're crucifying Janice in a gory scene. The end. Okay, I don't know how the fuck this would play out in the Southern Drive-In. Obviously, that's where it fucking ran, because it was shot in, I think, Gainesville, Florida, or Tampa, Florida, or something like that. Considering you're in the Bible Belt, I honestly don't know how this flew. Like I said, I had never seen it until I got a copy from AFGA. Yeah, it's interesting, I'll tell you that. A little weird, though, and a little homoerotic at times, but, you know, I don't know. I don't know what anybody was thinking when they fucking made this, and of course, the director passed away, I believe, in '94, so there's really no way to find out. Now, on something else, I got something that bugs me here. Trying to, like, you know, flesh out a collection with fucking Blu-rays. Now, I bought these off of Kino Lorber when they had their sale. You got Cut and Run, you got Slave of the Cannibal God. These are supposed to be pristine prints, okay? But now I have Blue Underground that I bought a long time ago, Cut and Run, and Mountain of the Cannibal God. Now, for whatever reason, this Cut and Run has weird-ass footage that was stuck in there and not cleaned up. This has the same footage, but it's been cleaned up. I don't understand what's going on with this stuff. It's like, I don't know, you know, whether the lease expired or whatever, or something happened with this, just, you know, getting some kind of weird-ass release, but the transfer... I know there were scenes cut out for the American release of Cut and Run. It was cut down to 84 minutes. The running time, actual running time, phew. I don't know if it was 84 minutes or not. This one's 90 minutes, okay? There's another weird thing. You don't know whether you're getting some whatever. And this one's 89 minutes. So, okay, this is the uncut version at 90 minutes. This is a trimmed version. It says 88, 89 minutes. I don't fucking get why the fuck somebody did this. I don't know whether the license passed or whether you get a certain, if you get a print of some kind, maybe because it's, I don't know. Because it's a different cut or something, you can actually throw it out and not get in any trouble. You know, I don't know if Blue Underground still, oh, this ain't even Blue Underground. This is Anchor Bay. All right, it's Anchor Bay now. I know that, Bill Lustig, you know, did stuff for Anchor Bay, then formed Blue Underground. I don't think he released this. So maybe somebody else got it. But like I said, the problem I'm having with this is that the Anchor Bay version is quality-wise head and shoulders above the Blu-ray. So I don't understand it. And then we go to this one, Slave of the Cannibal God. It's supposed to have scan with hours of restoration done in the U.S. Bonus alternate U.S. cut Slave of the Cannibal God from the original CRT. And like I said, now, what? This is saying 103 minutes. All right? Slave of the Cannibal God wasn't 103 minutes. Mountain is. So, looking at this one's exactly 103 minutes. So, again, my question is, why are you putting two versions of this film on there? And to be honest with you, I watched two of these back to back, because when I bought this, I was watching it, and I'm like, why does this look fucking off? The print looks bad. So then I watched this one, and this has been completely restored from original vault materials and now includes the legendary and never-before-seen footage of deviant sexuality from the private collection of director Sergio Martino. Okay, it has some definite, like, I'd say maybe a 4-minute scene of some really fucking twisted shit going on that I really can't discuss here, but it's basically some hardcore stuff. Get the picture. So, I don't understand this whole thing here. And the other thing I didn't understand was the extras here. There's an on-camera interview with Stacy Keach. The guy who's doing the interview is dressed in a banana costume. Now, maybe I'm missing something because I don't get it. You're doing an interview with an actor like Stacy Keach, who has a fucking huge resume of both exploitation and mainstream credits, who is a great actor. And once I saw the guy in the banana suit, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching this shit for? And I turned it off. So, not to piss on anybody's parade, not to knock, certain labels that I'm not going to mention, because there's some kind of, weird, there's a bunch of bullshit going on between some people too that I understand. I don't get it. I stopped releasing stuff for the sole reason that, it was getting pirated and I wasn't getting paid. So that's why I stopped. So I'm pretty much out of it. I just would rather, publish my magazine, write a book, and, I still get residuals from my old stuff. Not to say that I'm not going to do something in the future, because I would like to put, one or two more things out down the road, maybe in 2021, because this year sucked a huge, whatever. So, yeah, I stay out of the fray. There's been some, weird stuff going on, and the pioneers of the business, to me were like Something Weird Video, Luminous Film and Video Works, Sinister Cinema, guys that aren't in business anymore. But, there are guys out there that are doing a lot of good genre stuff, like Wild East is great with, the spaghetti western stuff. I think they just released Shanghai Joe, which I have to pick up. Alternative Cinema, like the company that releases my stuff, has been around for, years, and they were on the cutting edge of all this stuff back in the day. It's just sad that there, seems to be a little animosity here and there among certain people, but, hey, fuck it. I buy the stuff for the movies. That's my whole thing. I don't buy a DVD because it has a fucking stupid slipcover on, which I'm going to throw out anyway. I buy it for the movies, and I like to see restored stuff for the simple reason that, and I've said this time and time again, most of the prints that I saw back in my Grindhouse days were cut. They were edited. They were missing something, whether, it was done for time, whether it was done for content, or whether some projectionist was collecting scenes. Who the hell knows? But, I can't say, I can say for a fact that, when I saw Slave of the Cannibal God, it was missing shit. I can say the same thing for Cut and Run. Of course, Cut and Run was missing a lot of shit. But, yeah, that's the way it is. We're lucky that, especially for people like, Bill Lustig and Severin Films that, really go the extra mile to, get the best materials they can to transfer. And, Arrow's another one. Those are the ones that I really like. Kino is also good, but, the problem with the Kino stuff is they really don't give you any extras at all, except maybe a trailer or something. Sometimes an interview. But, like I said, to me it's all about the films. I want to watch movies. I don't want to watch something that's cut. I don't want to watch a bad print, and I don't give a shit about a slipcover. So that's the way I look at it. We're heading into the end of the year. This has been a tumultuous year at best. Don't care where anybody stands politically. I'm just glad it's fucking over. And unfortunately, what's going on isn't over with the COVID, and people have been stupid. Like I said, this is December 7th, it's right after Thanksgiving. We haven't seen the backlash of that. And like I said, I got to be very fucking careful at this point, because what happened to me, I didn't expect. So, don't pay attention to shit going on, and it happens. So, all I can say is my wish for people for the holidays is just try to fucking be safe. Put on the damn mask. We may be fucking dealing with this for another goddamn year. And I'd rather see people come out of it alive than saying, well, fuck it, I don't have to mask up because it infringes on this or infringes on that. No, you're infringing on people like me that take the fucking precautions when you don't mask up. So please, I've buried enough of my fucking friends in 2020. I don't want to bury any more. So on that note, stay safe. Thanks for subscribing. You want to get in touch, grindhousepurgatory@gmail.com, and we'll see you on the flip side.